Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music. YFM.
Let people know who you really are.
Yeah.
Behind all that we know and read about who Ashiokai really is, how you even got to the position you are today, the kind of hurdles you had to jump over, basically know you, and then get inspired by your story. So we're going to take it all the way from the basic side, you know, the scene one of the entire movie.
Right.
I'm so much interested in knowing where you grew up and how life was like for you.
Okay.
Then.
Yes. Okay, so I am a Tadi girl.
Hey.
So, yes.
Yeah, the power of you know ye.
Hey, Papa. I see. So I was born in Takoradi. My dad, his whole career, well, most of his career was in the timber industry. So my dad headed a big part of the timber industry, and he was based in Takoradi. So our whole family was there. So that's where I was born, and most of my siblings as well. I'm the 11th of his 12 children.
Wow.
Yes, 6 boys.
Just before the last baby.
Yes. I always tell the last baby I was supposed to be the last.
Yeah, I mean, I know how it will feel. 12 kids and you're the last one.
Yes,
all the goodies will come to you.
Exactly, see. So, let me see. So growing up, I mean, it was very, very sheltered, but loving family. I think because there was a lot of us, you always had like somebody to play with. And my parents always preferred for us to, you know, kind of be home, play among ourselves, have friends coming over versus, you know, us going out all the time. My dad was very strict. And so it was, I grew up in a very, very loving family, knowing that I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Nice.
My dad always ingrained in us, and my mom as well, you know, a spirit of adventure. And, you know, just do what you can and just be the best at what you're doing.
And what you do. Whatever it is that you touch, make sure you come out as the best.
Yes, exactly. But originally we're from Osu. So I'm a Gar girl too at heart. So that's
a quick twist.
Very wicked.
that I wasn't expecting that though. So my DJ Ganj is actually Fanti.
Oh really? From
100% Fanti. But he's Ga. Because he was born and raised here. I think he's even trying to be a king in one of the Ga communities. You know? So the other side of it, he is Ga. He's Fanti and he's fully Ga. And you are Fanti and Ga.
So my dad is Ga, so from Osu, and then my mom is actually half Togolese, and her mom comes from Somalia.
Wait, so there's no Takoradi? No, so the Takoradi was just by birth?
Yes, and I mean we lived in Takoradi till, gosh, I think teenage years.
Wow.
So the Takoradi there is in me.
A little bit of Somania, a little bit of Togo, and then Ga in here.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the Tadi by birth.
Exactly.
I love that. Now, what kind of ambitions did you have as a young girl growing up? What did you want to become?
There were so many things. I used to love to read.
Okay.
And so, I mean, every little chance that I got, I was either going to the library or I was, my head was always in books. So I was always had all these wild ideas of what I wanted to do, and it changed from day to day. I knew, but at the core of it, I knew that I had a spirit of adventure, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to do different things. I wanted to, you know, experience different cultures. And I would say to a large extent that's what I did. I mean, of course, growing up, I didn't have it in mind that I want to be an HR professional, you know. I was just very good at I loved having conversations with people, you know, and getting to know them, getting to know where they were from. And
you just basically loved asking questions.
Yeah, I did.
I think a big part of that comes from reading wide. You know, when you read so much, there are certain parts of your mind you can't really satisfy, so you try to build that through questioning.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Asking questions.
I think I wanted to be a detective with Nancy Drew and everything. Yes.
After you read the book, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how would you describe your secondary school experience? Any fond memories? Did you have a nickname then?
Well, Wanojata is a part of my name, so it's Ashiokai. Wanojata is, you know, if from Ghana you have like Sabla, right? So it's Ashiokai Wanojata. So in Holy Child, I mean, they would. Yes. A lot of my friends would call me Wano or Jata.
Jata.
So I could be very fierce sometimes.
What course did you study in senior high school?
Holy Child. So let me see. So A levels, I did history, literature, and French.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the best. I mean, like, these were my 3 favorite subjects.
I think
Like I
Gans
said.
did the same.
Oh, really? See? Like I told you, I mean, I loved to read. So
Yeah.
anything that would open up my mind, talk about different things was my thing. So I did those 3.
What were some of the ideal, the values you picked from, your days at Holy Child? The things
Yeah.
you didn't enter school with, but you
Yeah.
left with?
Hard work, being independent.
Okay.
Being independent and, just focusing on your goals. Because there you don't have the luxury of having your parents to constantly tell you, hey, have you done your work?
Yeah.
Have you done this? Have you done this? And you have to find that and find your feet very quickly or, you'll pretty much suffer.
Yeah.
And so boarding school was excellent. I had so much fun. It taught me a lot about being independent and about, getting your stuff done.
Now, around this time, had you placed your mind on one particular career? I mean, you were getting closer to being an adult.
Yeah.
Had it taken shape yet, the plans you had?
So I was more into the creatives. I knew that I wanted to do something with, it was tending more towards marketing.
Okay.
And being the creative aspects of marketing, branding and all of that stuff. So I had kind of started talking about that with my dad. On the other hand, too, I was very much interested in the law.
Okay.
Because I always have very strong opinions, and I really love to debate. And another thing was I can't abide bullies. And so I'm always like coming to the aid of, okay, who's the underdog, who's not being treated well, and why, and standing up to bullies.
Actually, the intercessor. Yeah.
So yeah, my mind was
somewhere towards marketing, branding, and then the legal system as well. Just because you wanted to, learn and then be able to defend people who didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
Well, how would you say that period in your life prepared you for the next phase? That was senior high school. You learned to pick hard working as a part of your life, being independent, obviously learning how to have a voice and be vocal about things that you believe in. I think let me just rephrase. How was the process like, switching from or moving from senior high school to university? Yes,
okay.
Picking your courses, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I decided. So it was a choice between going to the School of Administration and doing marketing or doing law. And back then, the School of Admin was, you had to get 4 to get into the School of Admin, and I got that. And so my dad was like, well, why don't you go to the School of Admin and do that, and you can always do law at a
That's true. That's what they always say.
I know. So I said, okay, all right, why not? So then I decided I was going to do the School of Admin instead. And then so lecturers were on strike. So after Holy Child, we did the national service, and then we're supposed to go to school.
Wait, after senior high school, you do your national service?
There was a national service then, I think. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so you have to do a year's national service and then go to the university.
Wow.
And then, so lecturers were on strike, and then Joy FM had just opened. So, and Joy FM back then, because my parents lived in Kokomele, we had moved back to Accra then. So it was just like a 10-minute walk from my house. So a friend of mine told me about this opportunity that Joy FM was interviewing for people to come into this morning show.
Okay.
What was it called? Mobitel Traffic Watch.
Okay.
And so it was Fisho. I don't know if you know Fisho.
I've heard the name.
Okay, all right.
I was quite young then.
Oh, yeah. See, good way to make me feel old, Rev.
My bad.
I said, okay, all right. So I just literally walked into the studio, and I had my first. They threw a script at me and said, okay, there is the Mobitel Traffic Watch concept was we had various people on motorcycles in the busiest streets of Accra, of Accra, and they would call you and tell you what the traffic situation was, and then offer alternative, routes and stuff. And then you quickly had to go into the studio and let people know what was going on. So my first one, I went into the studio, and oh my goodness, I was so terrified. It was during the drive time. It was Gabi Ajete. And he tried to calm me down, but I just kept thinking about everybody who was listening, because my mom had told everybody.
Oh.
And, and all my siblings, everybody was listening. So I kept thinking about, oh my goodness,
can't make a
this
mistake.
person is listening, and I just bumbled the whole thing up. And so afterwards, thanks to Gabby, he said, look, it happens to the best of us. You will, just come back tomorrow morning. So I did the morning show during Komla Dumas of Blessed Memory segment, and then I would go back in the evening and do the drive time show as well.
Wow.
So it was such a formulative part of my my life and my career, because it had started. It was like a startup environment, and Kwesi Chum just brought together all these amazing people with talent, and we were all trying to make this work and be a success. And we literally dedicated our days and our nights. Sometimes we would sleep at the studio trying to just finish a promotion, a production, and for it to go online the next morning. But
and this was you before uni.
Oh yeah.
You had no prior experience in journalism or broadcasting or whatever.
Zero.
And then you took a chance at it, it worked, and then you built yourself in there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
around this period, right, you've obviously touched a new field. It might have started working for you. Did you have second thoughts about maybe switching from admin? Because your field was almost in the uni.
Yeah, exactly.
And you took that 1 year period to do what you had to do, and then you had gained some grounds in there.
Yes.
Did you ever at any point rethink your decision to study admin in uni?
I did not. My father would have killed me. I didn't. I was just going to enjoy the period and take the most out of it. And I remember at one point having a conversation with Mark Okukumante, and he was like, Ashiokai, brother made sure, he would do some of the shows and stuff, and he wanted me to host, some of the shows and DJ and stuff like that. And I'd always tell him, I'll come so that you teach me and stuff. I was having a conversation with him, I think 2 weeks ago, and I was like, see, Mike, I should have listened. Right now I have a side gig as a DJ doing all this stuff. But I was more into, let's see, I used to do the news at one point, apart from the morning show segment that I had. And then also, of course, researching into different stories. And then I helped the brand's promotions, the promotions team as well. So I worked with them. And it was so exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all this...
meeting different
exactly.
people. Yeah.
All this, I would say, was unplanned.
No,
it just
was
fell in.
completely unplanned. It just fell in.
But you treated it as if it had been planned.
Yes.
You put your 100% in there.
Absolutely. And everybody, I think, did at that time. Kwesi Chum wouldn't accept anything less than that, if you know him. And he really built in us a sense of very hard work and dedication. And, he built a vision, and the vision was so alive in all of our minds as to this is what we were building, and you individually, this is what you're contributing to it. And we all wanted to see it succeed. It just really helped my career a lot.
Now, when you had to go to uni, so did they have you stay, do it part-time, or what? How was it?
So when I had to go to uni, I had a conversation with Kwesi, and he said, hey, I don't think you should give this up, and so you can come and work during the weekends.
Wow.
And initially I was like, hey, Kwesi, weekends, Charlie, I have to chill small. And he was like, no, you could still come on the weekends and then, come and do different shows and stuff. So I agreed. So that's what I worked all through uni. So weekends, I would come in the morning and do different, I did a blind date show at a point with Rami, different shows. So every weekend and some Sundays as well. And then go in the evening back to school with my friends, Walter Hall, Charlie, and then we'll just go to HM or some other place. But the chilling too had to happen.
Wait, so I'm sure now you come across a lot of, people at the corporate level.
Yeah.
Before this time, were people aware you had this life? You had eyes and hands in journalism, broadcasting, and all that?
Yeah. So when I think when we went to first year, so I had, that big phone, right?
Yeah,
when we started,
the
it was
with
the brick
with the
one.
antenna.
Yes, because I had to use that one for work for the Mobitel Traffic Watch. So I think I was like probably the only one who had a phone at that time. So I would carry this big thing around, and then on the weekends, then would go back. But it was I say that I was very, very fortunate. I was just one of a very few people who have had this experience and who could actually work during university, and then because by the time you finished, I had work experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't have that, and so that definitely helped me. I think when I went to the US as well, and then afterwards, like with jobs and things like that. Plus, I mean, being in radio, I mean, you know how it goes. You meet different people.
Yeah.
It builds your
And
confidence. You learn different things. Your communication improves. Your presentation. You know, there was a whole training for us working in media, and so I've been very fortunate.
I like the point in the conversation where you say yeah. You know, and yeah, you know, the rest, just open a different bracket for that. Now, after your degree in marketing,
Yes.
You decided to switch to human resource. What informed that decision? This was you wanting to be a detective, wanting to be a little bit of a lawyer along the line.
I know.
Get into marketing and branding. You did marketing in uni. You had your journalism, career set off nicely. And then human resource management and industrial relations for your master's degree abroad. What brought that about, and how did your transition into Abuchire happen?
Yeah. So when I finished, when I graduated from Legon, I got an opportunity. So Kwesi gave me an opportunity to move to the online. So the Joy Online had just opened, and so there was a marketing team that was put together. So then I moved to that part. So I was working with the Joy Online marketing team, and so really was doing what I had, I had learned in uni, and all that. So I did that for a year, but then I always knew that I wanted to work for a multinational. Again, my sense of adventure and do different things and all that. And so I saw an ad. I was young. I think they were recruiting at that time for graduate trainees, and so I saw it late, and by the time that I went to see when I applied, they only had slots available. I think it was just one slot available for HR advisory. I said, okay, I'm fine, I can do this. So I went and I did the interview, and they asked me all these questions. They're like, okay, why the switch, etc. I was like, I'm very versatile. I can put my mind to. And so they gave me a chance, they gave me an opportunity, and that's how I moved to Ernst & Young. And then I started working with the senior partner, one of the partners. So, and she was just amazing, and she had so much control and what HR was, and so we did so many different projects for companies all over Ghana and some in different parts of Africa. So we're doing change management, we were doing executive search and selection, training, and I saw a whole different part of my idea of HR, what HR was, and I was really enjoying what I was doing. So after I did that for 2 years, I was like, look, this is really something that I can get my hands around. This is something I really want to do, but I wanted to get the education behind it. And so that's what motivated me to start looking at HR master's programs. And so the University of Minnesota was the number 2 HR program in the U.S. At that time. Cornell was number 1, but I had just missed the deadline. Yeah. And so I applied, and I got in, and then I told my parents that I'm moving.
How did they receive the news?
Oh, my dad, he's always up for an adventure. He was like, that's really great. That's amazing. You're going to do amazing. My mom is more the type to hold you and wants to cuddle you and very protective and doesn't want to let you go and stuff. But as most mothers are. But so she needed a lot more convincing. But by then I had accepted, and I was even ready to apply for loans and stuff in case anybody was going to use that to say you can't go. So I can be very stubborn when it comes to me.
When necessary.
And exactly, especially when it comes to me and what I need to do. I can be very, narrow and focused on that. But ultimately they were very, very happy for me.
And supportive,
yes,
obviously.
Very, very.
Now you find yourself in a different space, obviously out of Ghana. And let me ask, before I even ask the question, were you just studying there or you had to work along the line?
So when I got in, I applied for, they had what they call graduate assistantships.
Okay.
And so if you were able to get a graduate assistantship, and that's basically you work 20 hours a week in any part of the university and different departments,
Yeah.
exactly. So, that is like if you get, all students wanted that. So if you're able to get that, it pays for your school, it pays your fees, your tuition, board, and then it pays you an allowance as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
extra.
I think it was like $15 an hour. Even back then, it was like a lot. So it was very few. So, the competition was very tight.
Yeah.
So I applied for I think probably I applied for everything that came up. Things I wasn't qualified for.
You were just throwing it in.
I was just throwing it in. I think there was one for lab assistant or something. I was
You had zero experience.
I have zero experience. I haven't done science. So there was one that came up. It was working for the Office for University Women. And it was sort of... it was a role where you worked with, some of women leaders to champion women programs in the school and also minorities. So I applied for that. And then I went in for the interview. The lady said she really liked me, but unfortunately she had met somebody in the morning that, she thinks had more experience, had done this before, had worked with various women's groups. And then, so I went back and something said, call her back. So I called her and I said, does she have 10 minutes? I just really feel like I can do very well in this role. So can I have 10 minutes of her time? She was like, yeah, absolutely, come in. So I went back to her office and I said, here's what my background is. I got thrown into this radio thing when I had no idea about it, but I still did it. And I did it all through school. I'm very determined. I'm very dedicated. I learn hard. I'm like a sponge, and I really want to learn from you as well. Look, I was saying all kinds of stuff. I was like, I need to get
Just
this
trying
thing.
to convince her.
Yes. So I went back, and then she called me, and she sent me an email, and she said, okay, you got the role. I was so excited.
So you were chosen over the other lady?
Yes.
Wow.
So I did that all through the 2 years, and then it ended up paying my full tuition, board, everything. Didn't have to pay a penny.
But did you ever at any point feel you were less busy, like too free out there? Because in Ghana, you were. It sounded like your life was
my
all
plate
work
was full.
yes, exactly.
Yes, I mean, but graduate school is a lot. So you have to. Plus, I was doing 20 hours a week every.
on the work,
I think it was 3 days a week. So there was that, and then there was, of course, getting ready for your capstone project in your final year, and then internship in your first year. And then, in my first year, I decided I was going to do a semester abroad program. So they were like, you just got to you just got here.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no. So I applied for the Belgium
So that's how come you went to Belgium?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I went to Belgium for 4 months because I really wanted to polish up on my A-level French as well. And then I wanted to travel Europe.
Wow.
So I did a lot of backpacking. I think I did more than 18 countries. It was just literally, sometimes you just stay in youth hostels. It was more about, I just wanted to go, I just wanted to see people in different places and, all that. So I'm so glad I did that. I built such a good network, met different people, and then came back, did my capstone project, and then, I graduated.
Wow. So you went back, you had to go back to America to finish up, and then after that, you worked there.
Yes. So I did my internship. So in the first year, you do a summer internship. So I got an opportunity to work with Medtronic. So Medtronic, I interned with there. It's a medical device company, and they're all over the U.S. They're big, and in Europe as well. So I was in their location in California. So it was a 3-month internship, so I did that for the summer. And usually before the summer is over or after the summer, so they'll let you know whether they're going to give you a full-time offer, right, to come back after you graduate. And so before the summer was over, they told me they were going to, give me, they were going to retain me and, have me come back. I got the Summer Intern Award, which was really great for a project that I worked on. So I was so excited because back then, remember, you're going in as an international student, so you always worry about, companies are they have to sponsor your visa and all of that stuff. So not all international students do get that.
Get that opportunity.
So yeah, exactly. So I was very excited when they told me, they were going to give me the full-time offer. So I went to Belgium, came back, graduated, and then
you started with them.
I started with them, and they put me in their HR leadership program. So it was a 2.5-year rotation. So you do different rotations, doing different parts of HR, so the compensation and benefits, training and development, HR business partnering in different parts of the U.S. They move you about quite a bit, and so it was a really, really exciting time. And then once the leadership program was over, then I got a promotion to go back to Minneapolis, and that's where their headquarters was, to take up a position there. So I did various roles, and then they sent me to London on an expat assignment for about 18 months. They were doing it.
In between all these times, you had not come back to Ghana? Or you were coming?
Oh, God, yeah, I was coming home.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
me, the way I love Ghana food, I have to get my Ghana fix. So I usually would come at least twice a year.
Twice a year, okay.
And my sister used to work with Ghana Airways. So I would get, exactly, staff ticket,
so
exactly.
Yeah. All you need to do is just pick your bag.
Exactly, and be on standby.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Exactly. So, I used to come to Ghana quite a bit. And then, so I moved to London for that period. It was so exciting, but it's a lot of hard work. I had to learn about the labor unions for one, which I had never had to do before, working with work councils, because the company was doing a lot of buying, a lot of acquisitions, and so working with the mergers and acquisitions team, and then divestiture as well, because we're divesting of a part of the company as well. So it was a very different experience, but it was very rich, and I got to work with some greats. The HR VP was just really excellent and allowed me to really grow in that role.
All these sound like good news and juicy.
Yeah.
Of course, it's abrochery. When I say that abroad, so people don't get it. It's abrochery. Your life was fine there.
Yes.
You're obviously getting paid enough.
Yeah.
What's advised you, or what's forced you to come? I don't want to use the word what made you come. I don't know if it was forced or it was someone's advice.
Yeah,
Why did you decide to come back to Ghana?
So after I left the UK, went back to the US, back to Medtronic in a different role. Then, I had worked with Medtronic then for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like I have to do something. I have to work for a different company. And so the role with Honeywell then came up, and it was a global role. So I was based in the US, but I had teams like all over the world, in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, and then in the US as well. So it was a great opportunity, and I took that up, and then I did that for 2 years. But it was a lot of travel. And then I had my daughter, so she's 10 now. And so, I had a living nanny, but it was most of the time away from home. And then there was once I had to go to Switzerland to do a training. So I was there, and I would call them at a particular time, right? And so they knew to expect my call. So I called, nobody was picking up. And then finally, I called the nanny's mom, and she said they were at the hospital. And that my mom, I say, oh my goodness, is OT okay? What happened? And they said the nanny had, a heart issue. So she had been able to call 911, and they came to pick her up, and then they took my daughter along, right? Because she was there, she was little. And so I got on a flight back, and that was the longest flight of my life, and I just kept thinking, gosh, is this really...
Also running through your mind.
Exactly, is this really what I want to do? Is this really the life that I want to give her? And so then I started thinking about coming to Ghana. So I looked at different opportunities. Different opportunities came up, but then none of them seemed the right one. And I knew for sure I didn't want to move back to something that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would be frustrated and I would be forced to move back. So one cold Minnesota night.
Minnesota is very cold, guys.
Oh,
very cold.
No, it's like literally minus 12 degrees.
It's the time that will make you regret going to Abuchi. Yeah. You think all about your family telling you Abuchi is you.
Charlie?
That's how cold it is.
Insanely cold. So I got a call from this recruiter. She said she was based in Singapore and she was recruiting for a telco company in Ghana. So they had seen my profile on LinkedIn, you know. See, that's why LinkedIn is very important, guys. You need to update your profiles.
Yes.
And said, so they saw, you know, my experiences, and so I was from Ghana, and so wanted to see if I was interested in moving back. And so I said, yeah, definitely, let's keep talking. So I spoke with them, and then I flew to London, so that's where, you know, Vodafone headquarters is, met with the CHRO and his team, and they talked to me about the role and what they were looking at, you know, where the role was going, where Vodafone was going, digital, all of that stuff. So I was very interested. So I finished that interview. It was like a full day of interviews, meeting different people. Then I flew back to Minneapolis. And when the flight landed, I opened my email and I had gotten an offer.
From them?
Yes. So, and then I got scared. I was like, oh my goodness, do I really want to do this? Like, am I really ready to
And this
move
was
back?
you recently thinking about wanting to move back to Ghana,
Yeah.
and the opportunity had presented itself in a different shape.
Yes.
And then right from London, I think 8 hours or 7 hours to
exactly,
the US,
right.
you landed and you had an email with an offer.
Yes. So it all happened so quickly. I mean, within 2 months of speaking with that recruiter and everything, I was in Ghana. So then I wanted to meet with the CEO in Ghana to really firm up my decision. So I traveled here, met with the CEO, and then, you know, spoke about different things. And then I went back, met with my VP of HR and told him I was I was moving back to Ghana. And he was like, you're going back to
Wait,
Africa?
hold on. So all this while, you still had your other job?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was still working with Honeywell. And so I was still thinking, I was still making up my mind. And so he was like flabbergasted. He was like, what? You know, there's so much to do and your career is going places. And like, you know, they have this idea of Africa and what it is. And, you know, as much as you try to educate them, sometimes
They
need
really
to,
don't get it, yeah.
they need to come and see, you know, what it is. So I said, yeah. So I mean, in the US, you just have to give 2 weeks notice. But I mean, there was so much that I was doing at that time. So I think I did like a month. And then after the month, you know, Vodafone literally, I mean, they relocated me.
They moved you. They said move.
Exactly. There was movers moving all my stuff. Yeah, I mean, I moved into a hotel for like a week, and then they shipped all my stuff back. And then I got in on a Friday, and Monday I was at work.
Wait, what?
April 1st. Oh my goodness, it's going to be what? 2 days. The next 2 days is going to be my 6th year anniversary.
Wow.
It was wild. I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. It was insane.
Get in on Friday.
Yeah.
And
Start
work
on
on
Monday. I was so
I mean,
tired.
did you even have time to tell family?
I did. I was keeping them up to date on the process. My mom was like super excited. My dad as well, that I was coming back, you know, home. And I was especially thinking about my daughter. And because I have such a big family, there's so many cousins, and she has cousins around her same age, and you know, they always like playing together when we were in Ghana. So I was very excited about all of that, and you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
One more question before we come back to home.
Yeah.
When you were still at Honeywell.
Yes.
And you took that quick trip to London for the interview. What did you tell your boss?
I took 2 days leave. I said
wow.
I just needed time for myself. I took a mental health break.
Wow.
Yeah, so literally I flew in, I got into London in the morning, then the interviews were the next day.
Yeah.
And then
right after that, you got on a flight.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
I was back. Like the whole thing happened very, very quickly.
Before we get back to the details of your work and I mean your duties here in Ghana so far, I want to ask again, do you ever have time and space for yourself? I know you came with people. If worse comes to worse, I would have to engage the gentleman in the corner to ask him, do you ever have time off work? You know,
yes.
If you're free, if you're not working, if you're not doing anything Vodafone or anything HR, what do you do apart from maybe hanging out with the family? Do you have time for yourself personally?
Oh yeah,
you do.
I mean, that one, yeah. If you know me, you know that my mental well-being is very important to me, and my time to myself and taking care of myself is very important to me, because that's the only way you can be the best version of yourself to other people and to my daughter as well. I mean, making sure that at least once a month or something. I mean, sometimes I miss it. Have a spa day, to myself. Sometimes I would travel, right? And either I'd go with my daughter, I love traveling with her, or I'll go by myself and to see a show, to, I don't know, do different things, come back. My friends, I have like really great friends from uni. I've known since Holy Child. We pretty much were roommates. And then I have, other really good friends as well. We hang out, we do different things. And then with my year group as well, we do we do fun stuff. I mean, if you ask people at Vodafone, they'll be like, hey, actually,
you're a fun-loving person.
I do. That one, yeah. I have to have my fun.
Now,
but you
what
have to
advice?
Get the work done.
Yeah, exactly. The work must be done, obviously.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to any young person locked in now, out there who wants to find a perfect balance between work, their personal lives, and then family?
Yeah. Don't focus too much on balance.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get out of kilter. You focus on giving the best that you can when you are in that situation, right? Be present in whatever you're doing at that time. And then get help, especially for the women. You can't do it alone. If you have a family and you have a demanding job as well, you can't do it alone. So get help. If you have to get a nanny, get a nanny. If you have to get somebody to help you around the house, do that. That's the only way that you can truly, embrace every part of the roles that you're playing. Because in 1 minute you have a different hat on, the next minute you have a different hat on. You had a PTA meeting and then you have to rush back. You have a board meeting, and so focus on being present whilst you are there in that moment, and focus on if you're with your kids, you've decided I'm going to take the Saturday morning, I'm going to take them to the beach or somewhere. Don't be picking your calls and reviewing your emails and stuff and not being present.
Balance,
yeah, exactly. So sometimes, nobody gets it perfect every time. My daughter so they have this thing where I think mothers come to the class to come and read, class mothers, I think they call it and stuff. And, for a long time I felt so guilty. I was like, oh my goodness, I wish I could do more, in school.
You can do Zoom.
You see now that's a possibility. I wish I could do more with the school and be involved and stuff like that. But I I can't. And so you just have to make sure they understand, that you have this very important job as well. So you do what you can.
Yeah, do what you can.
Yes.
Don't focus so much on balance. Just do what you can at the right time.
The mommy guilt there is always going to be it's there, but Charlie,
you can't really skip that.
You have to, brush it off.
Actually, what is it like being HR director at Vodafone Ghana?
It is all-consuming. It is very demanding, but when you have a very supportive team and a very qualified team, it makes it easier. And I say supportive team, not just from my HR team, but my peers at Exco. So from Patricia, who's my CEO, to the leadership team, right? So we're all very supportive of each other. And so you're not doing it alone. So although it can be so overwhelming sometimes, that with, my HR team, they're pretty much experts in their field. And so I can count on them. I can call to help support it. There's ebbs and flows. There's times where it gets extremely busy. Like Vodafone has a fiscal year, so our year actually ends end of March, so we have 2 days. So around this time, it's insanely busy because we're trying to round off the year. We're trying to do performance reviews. We're trying to do goal settings, strategy meetings. All of that is happening. So it's very exciting. But I do have really great employees as well, and they are very receptive to the role of HR and the strategic role that HR plays. And so, sometimes they come to you more with a lot more stuff that other organizations will probably not get. But I think it's all good, because what I tell my team is, look, it really grows you as well into the HR professional that you should be for today, because, the HR professional of today is very different. You're in a more strategic role. So you can do strategy, because you have to understand where your business is, why your business is in the industry it is, how it makes money, when it's not making money, what is the impact of that, and how do you, do workforce planning? How do you do all these things to ensure that the organization is succeeding? And that is more than what your idea of traditional HR is. So it has to be a very business analytical mind now to do that. So it's exciting.
Take us through your day. Your regular day, a regular day for Ashi. When you wake up, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Yeah.
What activities before work? In between that? Run us through your entire day.
Yeah. Okay, so my alarm goes off at 5.
Okay.
Because I live at East Legon, so the traffic, you have to bear in mind.
The underbridge is wicked.
At the underbridge,
Yeah.
exactly. My daughter has to be in school by 7:30.
Wow.
So I drop her off at GIS, and then I come to, fortunately, it's just 10 minutes from her school to my office. So, for example, Mondays we have Exco, which is like all day.
Okay.
And so we'll do Exco, and then after that I have my team. Tuesdays I do my team meetings. This is when we kind of debrief on the past week and then what's happening during the week. There's various, from emails. I set time to do emails, otherwise your whole day will be looking at reviewing emails. To focus on, if there's a particular project for the month or for the quarter that I'm working on, dedicate some time to that. And then let me see, there's just various governance stuff that you have to go to different meetings. And then of course employees wanting to come and talk to you about different things.
Okay.
It's never a boring day, that one is for sure.
There's always something new coming up.
Exactly. I wrap up from the office sometimes around, so I get in about 7:40. I'm usually in the office, and then wrap up around maybe 5:30 thereabouts. With the traffic, get home like 6:45. Take a shower, have dinner, and then usually it's back to opening my laptop to do work.
You are in there, you're HR director for this big company, Vodafone. Okay. For, I think this is 2 in 1. You obviously had to make a decision before you joined. But now that you've been with them, what, in your opinion, makes Vodafone a unique place to work?
Yeah. So we've been a top employer, recognized as a top employer for, not just for Ghana, but for Africa, Vodafone Ghana, for the last 4 years. And so there's a lot that goes into that. And it's about, I think what I'm most proud of is our focus on putting the employee at the center of everything that we do and every decision that we do. And so, for example, we have a very robust health, safety, and well-being plan. And so health, safety, and well-being sits under me as well as human resources. And we go over and beyond. Sometimes employees think we're doing a bit too much, but it's all for their safety. Our goal is 0 fatality and 0 injuries. And this is, I review this every month. And then with the group, the Vodafone group as well. And, we've won that, so the HR Focus Awards and different awards. So Vodafone Ghana has won Best Employer in Health, Safety, and Well-Being for, I think, the last 3 years. And so it's something that we're very proud of. We always tell employees. We have trackers in employees' vehicles, and so if you're going above the speed limit, it actually beeps. And
it's like Uber in America.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And so there's a lot of that employees feel very protected and shielded. And sometimes when they leave Vodafone and they go other places, I always get those calls of like, hush, hush, you guys really cared about that so much. And so a lot that we do is focus around employee well-being. And then as well around the policies that we put in. So we're always thinking, okay, what is going on worldwide and what are employees asking for. So now we've put in place a hybrid work policy, right, which really was triggered by COVID. But so, in the thick of COVID, we had everybody working from home. So except for our retail shops and our engineers who were going out, everybody was working from home. So we equipped them with the tools, data, everything they needed. And now we're doing, we actually have a policy that going forward, Vodafone is going to be a hybrid working organization. So we're never going to go back to doing full-time in the office. So we're doing 2 days in the office, and then the manager and their team decide which days they want to come in. Yeah. And then, so it's very progressive. So on, some of the policies. And then, last year, I think it was, maybe a year and a half when we decided we're going to do the 4-month paternity leave for, males as well.
Wow.
So,
you deserve it.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, we just hope that you're using it. the right way, staying home.
Yeah, well, we gotta take
Changing
it.
the nappies.
We gotta take it. I mean, our being around alone is fine.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be at home to make sure things are fine. When the light goes off, you know, we're able to, you know, reload it.
Yes.
When the gas is done, we need to go fix it and all that.
You
So
know?
yeah, we stay inside.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we already had the 4-month maternity leave. We had
Yeah.
an extended maternity leave for our ladies. And then, you know, as the world progresses, you see the changing role of men in our society as well. So we made it also very flexible so that you can choose to use it when your spouse goes to work,
Yeah.
right? And then so when they go to work, you
yeah.
can't be, you know, taking care of the child as well. So very progressive policies. And then one that I'm especially proud of is our domestic violence policy that we put in place, again, 2 years ago. And that gives employees 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks to take to, you know, if they're in any kind of domestic violence situation and they need time off, you know, sometimes to just think, to breathe, to talk to people. And then our employee assistance program, where we have psychologists on call. It's free 24-hour service for employees to, you know, call, talk to somebody, and all of that. So, yeah, that's why I'm very, very, you know, proud to be on Team Red.
Now, you won the HR Personality of the Year at the HR Focus Award in 2021.
Yeah.
I remember very well. How did that make you feel?
Oh, it was such a proud moment, and not just for me, but for my team as well. And looking back over, you know, the period since I joined and everything we had been able to accomplish, and to see it recognized, you know, by your peers and on a platform like that. So the awards were in, I believe it's end of September, and 2 weeks prior I had just buried my dad. So it was a very emotional time as well. I mean, my dad was a very pivotal part of my life and my growth, and he was so proud of all of our accomplishments, and, you know, seeing us go out there and do whatever. And so, you know, I was very emotional that night, but I was really proud that everything that we had done, you know, as a team was recognized. We had, I think, a total of 7 awards that night. And apart from the HR Practitioner of the Year, I think the one that I was very proud of too was being recognized as the company that did the most for its employees during COVID, right, and took care of its employees. And so, you know, it was a very good night
For you.
Yeah, and the team.
And the team as well. I mean, yeah, you represent them. Now, what caliber of young people do you encounter in your line of work? What kind of people do you see? Smart, right?
Oh my goodness, really smart people. So we have different opportunities. Vodafone, one thing is we like to have, you know, to bring in a lot of youth into our organization, because I mean, they have so many ideas. They have they're innovative. And so we have different programs. So apart from our graduate trainee program, we have internships, apprenticeships, our female engineering scholars program, different ones. And so, but we have a screening process.
Yeah.
So by the time that, and you know, a lot of people apply for these roles. So for our graduate training program, we have about 12 slots and usually get more than 2,000 applicants.
Wow.
It's a really good program. And so by the time that you do the screening, so our screening doesn't focus on work experience, because at that time, I mean, people are just getting out of school. So I mean, when I look at, you know, adverts that are looking for graduate trainees and it's asking for 2 years, like how are they supposed to be getting this? You know, so we focus on your potential rather than your performance. And so your potential, we're looking at mental agility is one thing that we measure quite a bit. And it really talks about how quick you are to pick new things, how confident you are, how you can express yourself, to present, put your ideas together and present it to a team and convince them that, you know, this is the data and this is how it's going to work. So we look more at, you know, your mental agility, your ability to take on new things and think quickly on your feet. And if you've had any leadership experience in the past, in school, in, you know, different voluntary opportunities, it's always good to have as well.
Now, this is So basically, what you look out for
Yeah.
in getting people on board. But generally, I mean, the average Ghanaian graduates that you come across, how ready are they to work? I mean, the
Yeah.
readiness for work.
So once we have done all that screening, the 12 that we get, we work with some super, super bright people, right? And they have like excellent ideas and stuff. Now, before we get to that point, you know, if you take, let's say, the 2,000 who've applied, there's just so many who are not ready in the sense that they don't have the experience, but not ready in the sense that they haven't, they're not showing the confidence, they're not showing that being able to think on their feet,
You have the
right?
soft skills that you.
Yeah, exactly. And even more so, it's about, okay, I went to, let's say I did marketing, right? I've read the book.
Yeah.
I've read all the books that was giving me, and I can quote whatever
Yeah.
to you. Now, if I ask you, if I give you case studies,
Yes,
right?
in reality.
And I give you real case situations, and I ask you how you're going to behave in this situation. Now, that's where a lot of it kind of gets lost. So that's where we have to look at in making our education more experiential, and do more case studies, do more presentations. I mean, look, when I'm sure it's not just me, when you do your undergrad in Ghana, you go to the US, right? And you go to your master's, you struggle in the first semester to really adjust to how that works, right? I mean, because the lecturer is not giving notes, so here it's about, you sit in class, you take notes, the lecturer literally repeats, right? The line, okay, Rev is a good DJ. If somebody didn't get it, they raise their hand and say, sorry, could you repeat? Rev is a good DJ. You write it, like literally.
Yeah.
And then some lecturers expect you to spew literally word for word in your exams what they've taught you. It's not like that. Oh. So I remember my first semester, I had my book, this thing ready to take notes, and everybody had their laptops. And I was like, hey, but how are these people going to type so fast? And, take the notes and stuff. But it was just more, before you get to the class, you should have read the topic and done extra, exactly, and done extra reading and research on the topic. So it was more a conversation. So, today we're going to talk about how training and development and why it's such a key integral part of, an organization's work. And then, you're supposed to raise your hand and talk about what you think.
Yeah.
What have you read about the
matter.
topic?
Exactly.
And that is the class. That is it. And afterwards, you're giving an assignment. You have to read more and not go and chew about what you've written, because they'll get you on copyright as well. Literally, everything has to be your ideas and thinking.
So when it comes to finding your opinion, unlike here, I mean, I think a few places, University of Ghana will do that as well. And then they have systems to check whether you copied verbatim, You're supposed to explore with your mind.
Oh, yeah.
You're supposed to read and then know more so that you can interact with your lecturer, and then he knows whether you really understand what is being taught in reality.
Exactly.
Instead of, just really understanding what the book has for you.
Absolutely.
Do you think
why you have a contrary opinion?
Exactly.
They want to hear that contrary opinion as well.
Unlike here, where we just want you to agree to what has already been written.
Yeah, exactly.
Some lecturers, this is just on a lighter note.
Yeah.
Some lecturers will tell you they didn't write the book.
Yes, it's true.
I mean, when you raise your hand to ask a question, I don't want to mention names, but I know some of my classmates will know this lecturer I'm talking about. You ask him something, and then he tells you, a whole Strala and Strala wrote this part. Who am I? Yes, who am I to challenge it? I don't think I have an answer for you. If you ever get the opportunity to meet Strala and Strala, then you ask them this question, not me. But let's do what's in the book.
I think we've got into
in
their field.
Exactly.
Nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
You always learn something new, right? Every year something new comes up, so you can challenge.
Exactly, but it's not the case here. I think we need a reform. Yeah.
Yes.
Educational
So I think that's what we really need. People who can think on their feet, think outside the box, have ideas. And not. You can't just follow all the time. We're not sheep. Yeah.
What specific skills do you think young people, should arm themselves with before coming out of school?
Yeah. So I go back to my own experience, and I know that I was very fortunate, right? It's not everybody who gets the opportunity to do work. before they get into university, or actually be in a work environment while still, in the university. If you can have that, grab that. It helps you really apply what you're learning in a work environment as well, and it opens your mind up to different opportunities as well. And then now, I think that youth now is so fortunate. You have opportunities that Charlie, I'm giving away my age, but we're old, Charlie. We're old, but we're the young at heart. Didn't have when we were, exactly. When we didn't have when we were in school. My research in school, was going to the BAM library, literally sitting there.
But I could just lie in bed.
Exactly.
Open your laptop or phone.
Open your laptop and do all your research, in the palm of your hand, even with your phone. And so, for example, I talk a lot when I talk to the youth about exploring different degrees, nano degrees, because your Bachelor of Science, let's say a full degree in marketing, is great, it's good, it opens up your mind, but does it really prepare you for the job that you want? So, for example, if, say, you're doing a computer science program, right, at University of Ghana, at tech, etc., what else? You need to have something extra, because at the end of the day, when you graduated, you're among
everyone has done the same thing you've done.
Who have done the same thing. Now, what's going to set you aside is if you've done a particular certification in, let's say, programming, right, or artificial intelligence. So you need to research on what are the current trends today, what is the world looking at, what are the industry that you want to go into, what is important to them, what are the trends. And then try and get these, Udacity, Udemy, all these online universities. Get that extra thing that's going to set you apart, because they prepare you for the job that, it's a specialized skill nano degree that they give you. And it's like, you can do one for a month, 2 months, 3 months.
I think there
and
is
then you
some
have
on
that.
edX and all that.
Exactly. So have that, because you do have time. Please don't say you don't have time. Maybe I was doing all this stuff. I still had time to chill.
Still had time to do it.
So, there's always time. Find time, even if it's an hour a day of your time that you're going to do, if it's volunteering. And people, when I talk to the youth, they'll say that I don't, organizations will not give you the opportunity to come and do experience, etc. And I understand that. And what I always say is, when you go to an organization and tell them, I want to come and work, I want work experience, for like a year and stuff. It seems very daunting to them, because sometimes they have to work with their head count. They have head count numbers that they have to meet as well. But if you come and you say, I'm a marketing student in my second year, having an internship, and could you give me an opportunity to work on a project that I'm working on, even if for 3 weeks? That's all I want. You don't even have to pay me. They will, usually probably give you something for TNT, blah, 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 etc. But 3 weeks, it becomes less daunting for the person. And once you get in and you start working on, you'll put you on different stuff. They see that they really need you. And that's when you can then start conversation. Hey, can I do an extra week? Can I come back? And then very soon they are going to be the ones who are chasing you, asking, hey, can you come in,
Your impact will be felt. You must get in there and bit by bit let your impact be felt, your experiences, all the things that you claim you can do.
Yes.
Put it to work. Make sure you improve work standards, increase outputs, add something to the company. Add value to the company or the brand.
Yeah.
And then they will start, coming at you. Actually, this is a question I've come across so many times, and everyone seems to have a different answer to it. According to the situation. How good or bad is the CV building system? Sorry, I don't want to use system. Situation in Ghana at the moment. You are HR director. You come across a lot of CVs.
Yes.
What are some of the things? Are people getting better? Because it's. I don't think some of the universities do teach that. There's info online. You just mentioned that we now have access to a lot more than what the people in the people who had access in the past had. Are the situations getting better? Are people writing good CVs? Are they doing the right things now?
Yeah. You get people who have done their research, have done their work, and have polished up their CVs nicely, which is good. And then you have people on all different parts of the spectrum. You have somebody who he's talking about a whole lot more things that they have never even been introduced to, you know, all about, you know, you're faking it till you make it. But if you're going to put all that in your CV, you better believe if you're coming to see me, I'm going to ask you everything about, and I'm going to ask you questions regarding, give me a specific time where you did this, and I want to hear that example, right? Don't give me the general textbook. Oh, if I was in this situation,
come and
I would
repeat
do
what's
this.
in the book.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more behavioral-based questions. So you have to come with specific examples. Now, and then on the other hand, you have those whose CV are like very bare. Meanwhile, they've done stuff, and I think they just don't know how to phrase it and how to put it on their CV. Oh, it's so last week I think I came across a CV that somebody had, and they had WhatsApp group administrator. So yes, people
that was a part of his role?
Yes, people have put that on their CV.
WhatsApp group admin.
Actually, some of these WhatsApp groups, you have to tame people. So maybe it's your leadership skills.
No, we do hear this a lot, but I always thought it was, for, fun purposes.
I mean, you see some interesting things, but there's always something that unless you're coming directly out of school, even that, the profile side, right, or the beginning side. Talk about what interests you. Talk about why you're interested in that industry. Talk about your soft skills, right? And that you have data analytical skills. You pick things up very easily. You're a quick study, and here's where you think you can add value to this organization. If you have zero experience, if you haven't even done any volunteer work, if you've done volunteer work, put it on there, right? And if you can get somebody to, at that place to give you a recommendation, put that in quotes on the CV, and below is the quote from this thing on what a great job I did when I was here. So don't leave it too empty. Don't as well bloat it with things that you haven't done, because you will be caught up when during the interview. Yes, CVs are always a place where you can embellish just a little bit, but make sure that you're able to speak to it.
Have you had situations where simple CVs beat the very clustered ones? Yeah, the 10-page
oh my goodness,
ones.
yes. I mean, who has time? That's another thing as well. You have to understand that the recruiter has probably gone through hundreds of CVs. So how are you going to make yours stand out? Don't send a 10-page CV where 2 pages will do. Put the required, don't think that the more it is, and fluff. A lot of it is fluff. Take that out. Have a professional look at it for you. If you have, and it doesn't have to be an HR person, somebody who works with has worked for a while, works in an organization, have them review it, trim it for you. If you can get an HR, professional to look at it for you. And then, there's various, CV building apps, websites as well. So
the specifics as to what you need to look out for.
Exactly, and highlights more accomplishments versus the role, So, for example, instead of talking about role was being the training I delivered. I put together training, right? Is part of the bullets that you've written. Instead of that, saying,
tell me the role. What was special about it? What did you do?
What you accomplished, exactly, right? So over the last 2 years, I transformed so and so from, right, this that wasn't, and put in place ways that we can actually measure training and get ROI, right? Return on investment for our training. And with that, I was able to convince leaders to invest more in training and development for the organization. Talk about what you did, what it led to. You see what I'm saying? Always think about, okay, this is what I did. Now, what did it lead to? That's the part that we usually leave out of CVs. So it led to so and so and so. It led to a 15% increase in growth. It led to, all the employee engagement activities I put in place led to a reduction of 2% in attrition. Always ask yourself the question in your mind, what did it lead to? And try to put that in there.
Guys, I hope it makes sense, man. I'm really picking a lot from the advice she's given us. This has turned into a lecture. I'm really enjoying it.
We've all had to learn. So.
Really enjoying it. 0202222073. If you have a question for she's right here with us, send it through on Twitter. The hashtag is Wiley the Boss Series. If you do drop it in, the team will pick it up and send it my way. Actually, final question on career or anything that has to do with our work, okay? With your vast experience in corporate environments, what have you observed as the biggest, or what in your opinion is the biggest challenge to the career advancement of young women? And in your opinion, what sort of tools should they arm themselves with in order to scale, the hurdles of the corporate world? You've seen many.
For women, I would say that, so the research shows that women always negotiate less strongly than men, right? And so you end up going in and accepting a role that pays you less than what you are actually worth. So you need to step up your negotiation skills. Know who you're worth. Know what the market pays. I mean, the research is available. What does that talk to people, right? In this industry, in banking, right? And for my role as this, what does the average pay? And then if you're just an entry-level person, then at least you know that, okay, I'm going to start at the bottom of the range, right? And then move up. If you're had 3 years experience, you do have experience. So be very bold in your negotiation skills and be confident about your abilities that you're bringing to the table. Once you get in, I guess my advice would be not just for young women, but for everybody as well. If you're in an organization where you feel like you have the support of your team, your manager, leadership, you have access to development opportunities, various ones, whether in country or if it's a multinational, you have opportunities outside. And you happen to be in a situation where, let's say, your salary is less, right? It's a little less than what maybe your friends are making in a smaller size organization. Now, I see this all the time where people, organization will come in because you have the experience, because you've worked with, the Vodafones of this world, etc. They want that experience from you. So it's more them wanting, them looking at what you can give them versus what they can give you. What they can give you is probably money. But you have to look at your career and where you want it to go. So let's say you're leaving a big bank. I'm just using an example. Let's say Absa or Stanbic or whatever, and you're going to a small microfinance company, right? Where they're going to give you a little more money, but think about what your career prospects are.
Yes, exactly.
With that, and where it's going to be. There, you're going to be a big fish in a small pool. Here, you have so many different opportunities, and so look at it holistically and make decisions based on that. I mean, I've seen so many times where we look at CVs, we look at, okay, this person worked at this, really great organization, they did so many things, and then they moved to, some obscure place,
down.
And then you see it kind of goes down. They work there for like a year and a half, right? Attracted to the money, and then they see like, Charlie, I can't work in this place. There's no systems, there's no processes. I'm the only one who's doing everything.
The training culture
and
is
then exactly, and then they leave, and then it becomes very difficult for you to move to another great brand.
Yes,
where
because
you
then
really want to, because they're looking like, why did this person leave this really big organization and went to the small place? What happened and all of that? So think holistically. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but make sure that you're ready for the consequences of that action. And I mean, money is always good, but it can't be everything. Trust me, I've learned that.
This is a very important question to me, or for me. Throughout the month, we've discussed a lot of things that has to do with gender, closing the gender gap at corporate, entities, and that. What, in your opinion, are some of the ways through which you can build up some equal opportunities to address the disparity, between the gender gaps at workplaces?
What gets measured gets done. And so you have to put in, as the HR leader of the organization, and you have to lead this, and make a case for EXCO, for the leadership team, why it's important that it's not acceptable that 80% of your population is male. And it's only 20%. The question, you have to just ask yourself why. There are always qualified females that you can bring into your organization. Now, sometimes for certain roles, it will take you a lot more. You have to do more to identify that talent and bring them in. Okay. So for Vodafone as an example, every year I have a target, a female manager, especially target that I want to meet, that I have to meet. And you have to get CEO buy-in, you have to get Exco buy-in. That is what we have to do. So this year, we actually met and met our target. Next year, we're going to have a target as well.
I like how you just said that silently. We over met our target.
So minimum, we want to be at least management, have 35% of managers being female. So with that said, it's not easy because, again, the research just said that people tend to hire themselves. So if you have, let's say, 5 managers who are all male and they're hiring, they talk to their different groups that they are on. The different groups that they're on are mostly, again, either or schools that they went to. If it's a boys' school,
male dominated.
If it's exactly right, so you will get qualified people, but they will end up being kind of almost similar to you. If you put 1 or 2 females on the recruiting panel, the chances of you hiring a female becomes almost 50%, because she is also looking at different, she's also bringing a different perspective. She's looking at different things as well. And so you have to give yourself yearly targets that we are going to do this. Now, sometimes this is frustrating for hiring managers because they're like, look, I want somebody right now. When, somebody leaves, you want somebody in a week. And, it's easier to get let's say, for example, I have a role that is very difficult to fill, right? And I did, in the past, it's been males who have dominated that, from school, everything. So the pool that you're selecting from is majority male. So you have to go the extra step. You have to go to, let's say, actuarial scientist role that I have. So had to go to the actuarial society, talk to them, get their list of graduates, see where they're working. Talk to them, poach them.
I like that word, poach them.
Exactly.
Find them.
Look, we do that to each other all the time. Speak to them about why this is such a great opportunity at Vodafone and why I literally think you're the best person for the role. So again, you will get qualified females, but you have to put in exactly, and then say that this is important for us as an organization, and we're going to measure this, and it's going to be part of the way that we compensate.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, still a woman, I mean, for the very young ones, especially the ones who are aspiring to take up leadership roles like you have, what will be your advice to them based on experience you've gathered over the years? Young women who aspire to take up leadership roles in companies after the gender gap has been, closed, after the company is well aware of all the things that has to do with gender, the gender awareness has been created. Now it goes beyond just that. We need to pick up leadership roles. What advice would you give young women locked in right now?
Don't be frustrated and try and hurry the process. Okay? You have to be ready. Because if you're not and you get to that level, it will expose you that, you do have gaps. And you don't want to be there, you don't want to get there where you've been given the role and you can't perform and you can't step into the role. So take all the opportunities that you can now to learn what you can so that when the opportunity is presented, you are ready. Second thing is raise your hands up for the role. Be noticed.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, sometimes we sit and expect people to come and tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, this role is available, I think you'll be great and stuff. No, you have to speak with them. And I always tell people that the time for you to raise your hand for the role that you want is not when the role is available. It is when somebody is already in the role. Have a discussion with your HR person, with your manager, saying, hey, this is my next role that I'm interested in. I know that Rev is currently in this role. And here's what I've done. I know these are the gaps that I have identified, right, to do before I get there. And get your manager's view as well on what he thinks you need to work on to be ready when that role becomes available sometime in the future, 2 years, whatever. So everybody knows that Ashokai is interested in ref's role,
Yeah.
and Ashokai has a plan on how to fill that and how to, different things, experiences you have to do before the role
How
becomes
to even
available.
better the activities in that
Exactly.
department. Yeah.
So once that role becomes available, everybody has you in mind.
Yeah.
That Ashokai says she's interested. She's done this and this and this to ready herself for the role, and that's how you kind of move. You kind of move. Get different experiences, varied experiences. It always helps when you get to the top and you've done different things. Patricia talks a lot about. Patricia, well, I see you. She's an engineer, right? And
I think she's
then
been
she
here.
was
I've interviewed her.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then, she moved into business. She was thrown in there. If she hadn't readied herself and prepared herself, she would have been found wanting. So that as well is very important. And be very, sometimes we're too afraid to fail, and have people laugh at us that, I couldn't do this, and people were laughing and stuff. Like, so what? At the end of the day, you got the experiences, you failed, but then you got the experience, and it's going to ready you for the next thing. So, open yourself up for opportunities.
Well, I was going to ask for an advice for all of us, but I think we can all pick bits and bits from what she shared with us, especially on the part of failure. Don't be afraid to fail. It's a part of the winning process. It's a part of the success story. If you don't fail, you never see the opportunities beyond failing. You never really appreciate the joy that comes from succeeding.
Absolutely.
It helps you. It sends you back to the drawing board to actually do better.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, and I believe once you fail, it's God giving you an opportunity to win bigger or to win better, bargain for something bigger or better for yourself.
Yeah,
Guys, thank you so much.
I always tell them, my mom always used to say, the worst somebody can say is no, and no one never killed anybody. So ask. And I I stress that to my daughter all the time.
If you're told no.
If there's something that you really want and you really want to do, ask. If you're told no, hey, it didn't kill you, did it?
It didn't kill you. It just gave you the opportunity to come back bigger and stronger like you. When you wanted to pick up the woman's role back in uni, they told you no. And because of the no, you actually had the idea of asking her for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't really fail.
Yeah.
Maybe the opportunity wasn't really looking so good for you based on what you said you could do. But after you were told no, you actually went back and did more than who was actually the person that was actually made for the job.
Yeah.
So you got it over the person that qualified just because you got a no and you decided to come back.
Exactly.
Guys, this
and
is more than a
even if I said no at that point, then you know that I gave it my all. I did everything I could
tried
to try and get it, and I didn't get it. And you have no regrets about it.
Ashiokai, thank you so much, boss, for coming through today. We appreciate the time you spent with us. I've learned so much. Special shouts going out to all our Facebook, viewers. And Nkrumah Prince joined us from DVLA all the way inside Kumasi. Wow. And I realized he stayed with us throughout. Daniel Adanu says, a wonderful HR leader and practitioner.
Daniel is my health safety manager.
Great. And Nkrumah Prince says, where's Nkrumah's comment? And Nkrumah Prince says, keep it up. Keep it up, Ashi. Henry Norteyeboa says, very insightful discussion with Ash. I have picked a lot of learnings from her. Many thanks. And last one says, give thanks. Okay. This one vanished. Okay. I'll try and get the last one for us. But thank you guys so much for watching us, all of you. Yes, Albert Edu says, great insights. Thank you, Ashiokai Akrong. As for Ash, it works hard. Okay, she works hard and chills hard. What? The messages are coming in now. Max Odako says, I've enjoyed every bit of this conversation. Thank you, Ashiokai Akron. The Jata name got me. Bismarck Ahoma is the last one. It says, you're looking great, boss. Classic outfit. Thank you so much, Ashi, for joining us today. It's been an insightful interview. I really enjoyed it as well. Wish you the very best. Keep soaring higher and keep representing all of us, including the women. You stand for women so much, and it's beautiful. You believe we can all do it. You believe we all have equal rights to everything. And it's a part of the process in changing the world we're in today. We're paying much attention to things that are very important, paying attention to gender in everything that we do. And people like you are the ones bearing the torch with it. So on behalf of Global Media Alliance, of course, YFM, the Mid-Morning Radio Show and Leaderboard 2, I'd like to say thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this was very good for me as well, interacting. And I always love interacting with different people, I mean, especially the youth. And I'm always happy to take questions, on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. If you have something that I didn't address and you want to, I respond.
I think since you've touched on that, you have any social media handles apart from that? Apart from LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook as well, Ashiokai Akrong, and then Instagram is my Wanojata.
You're really keeping that. Okay, so I think at this point we can play some Amachi the Day, right?
Oh, my fave.
Yeah, let's do some Amachi the Day. Akoda Riswa or I think Akoda Riswa is a very wild one. Yeah, we'll do that one. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us on the Leaderboard series. A big thanks to Ashiokai Akrong for joining us today on the show. We're going to get into some more music. I know you guys missed that, but the next set of songs are her faves. So do enjoy. When you hear my voice again, we'll tell you more about what we have for you before the show ends.
Congratulations. You found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.